What up, gang? Carolina Jackpot checking in. It is Thursday afternoon. The picks and predictions video for this week against the spread is on the way this evening. I want to talk about one real quick, which was requested of me by one of our subscribers, Paul Cobb, a Clemson fan. He asked me, how are you going to talk about the SEC East and not even mention Clemson? Well, they're not in the SEC East, are they? Well, they act like they want to be because it's always in their mouth. But at any rate, let's talk about Clemson versus Texas A&M Saturday at 3:30. Clemson's a 17-point favorite in this game last week. Texas A&M on Thursday, 41-7 win over Texas State at home. Just barely covered the spread there. Clemson, 52-14 over Georgia Tech at home. Thing I noticed in that game, Clemson, I don't think even played the best ball and still won by 38 points. That tells you how bad Georgia Tech really is. It also tells you that Clemson's really strong. I did see that they gave up a little bit of chunk yardage to the running back for Georgia Tech. So that leads me to believe that Texas A&M is going to be able to get their yards on the ground. They'll probably do so in the form of the dual-threat quarterback, Kellen Mond, and they did have two running backs. Those were one of those young men rushed for over 100 yards this past week on Thursday night against Texas State. So I was wondering who's going to replace Travion Williams. Well, it looks like they may be okay as far as the running back position goes. I was kind of worried about how they were going to do. Well, I wasn't worried about it because I really could give two shits how they do. But I was wondering how they would do with the running back position with the loss of Williams, who was one of the top backs in the SEC last week. Now, granted, they were playing Texas State, a terrible team. I mean, just might as well have been playing an FCS school last Thursday night because Texas State is horrible. But Clemson's opponent, Georgia Tech, is horrible as well. New offensive scheme, not able to do much against Clemson. And Clemson played sloppy on defense. They played sloppy there. They played sloppy on offense for a while, too. So, a more seasoned team, I think, could have taken advantage of that. Clemson's going to have 9 days coming into this game to prepare for Texas A&M, or 9 days in between, whatever. They got 2 extra days of prep time. So I don't look for them to be sloppy. I look for them to come out hitting on all cylinders. And, I've been wanting Clemson to, you know how I am. I want to see you guys poop the bed more than anything in the world. But, to be quite honest with you, there's only a few shots at that happening this year, a few legitimate shots, unless you just totally just bomb a game somewhere and lose to somebody in the ACC that you really have no business even being within 3 touchdowns of. 17 points, it's a lot of points, but it's not a lot of points. I can see Clemson winning this game like 45-28. I think there's that one little factor. It's not really a revenge factor because they didn't beat you last year, but they made you look kind of silly. And a lot of people think that they should have won that ball game. I think Texas A&M got robbed. So I think this year at home, Taters coming out are going to have something to prove as far as that goes. I think they're going to have something to prove as far as Trevor Lawrence's bad performance last Thursday night, that was a fluke, and it's not going to happen again. And, this is just, unfortunately, this is just the type of games that you idiots get up for. You do. I can't take away from you. Going back to 2015, it started with the 2015 Notre Dame game at home, prime time, you won. People like to say it started with the 2013 Georgia game, but I don't count that one because the next year you played them at the same time in prime time, and they came out and mud stomped you. So I start with the Notre Dame game in 2015. You had that Louisville game in 2016. It was a huge one at home, the under the lights. You had Virginia Tech that same year on the road, or 2017 under the lights on the road. You annihilated them. So this is kind of along that same line. I think you guys win. I do think you cover that spread. I really do. I think you're probably going to win by about 21 points. A&M probably just not quite there yet. I don't think that pass defense is. I think that's a weakness for Texas A&M. It was not exploited by Texas State because Texas State is garbage. but your pass defense was one of the worst in college football last year, believe it or not. Meanwhile, your run defense was one of the best. So maybe Travis Etienne doesn't get quite as many yards on Saturday, but I think Trevor Lawrence and T. Higgins, Justin Ross, and Joseph Nagata, and whoever else is going to have a field day. So I look for the Taters to cover the spread in that game. Went by about 21 points, maybe went by about 24 points. I'm not sure. Texas A&M is a really good team, but I think they're a solid third to fourth place in the ACC, or I almost say ACC, the SEC West, behind LSU and Alabama. Auburn, I'm still not buying them. I know they won last Saturday night, but Auburn, gosh, I'm getting tongue-tied. Oregon kind of gave that game away. Has some really poor clock management there at the end, and they should have had that game in the bag. They should have won it, but they didn't. Congratulations to Auburn. Taters cover the spread and win in Death Valley on Saturday afternoon. Mark it down, because Carolina Jackpot said that it would come to pass. I'll see y'all later. Peace, and I'm out. Go Gamecocks. Woo! Fire Coach Boom.